Hello, everyone. This is week 3 of our season of consecration. In week 1, we focused on prayer. In week 2, it was on serving. And this week, it's about stewardship. Now, I know when you hear the word stewardship, I know your mind immediately goes to finances. But when we're talking about stewardship in this season of consecration, there is so much more than just finances. We've been in the book of Joshua, Joshua 3, where the Israelites are at the brink of the Jordan River. They are at the brink of going into the promised land, inheriting the promises. The 40 years of wandering is behind them, and they have a bright future ahead. But God was making requirements of them. He wanted them to separate themselves, to consecrate themselves, because he wanted to do a greater work in them and through them. And that's the same thing for us, friends, as we are going through this season of consecration. God is challenging us in the giving of our time, our talent, and our treasure. Will we give it with joy or reluctance? Will we enter into that consecration with an attitude that we're going to multiply the talent that we've been given? Or, like the unprofitable servant, are we just going to bury that talent? God expects us to be profitable. He expects us to prosper in this life of living for God and for His glory. And so there are going to be requirements, and we're asking you some thought provoking questions in this coming week. And they are designed for you to look inward, for you to examine yourself, examine your priorities, examine just how surrendered are you to God's purposes in your life. I can tell you, when there was a time of consecration that I had, I just set it up for myself. And sure enough, I set aside this time for fasting and prayer. And it was like, as soon as I went into prayer, it was like God was saying, aha, now I've got your attention. This is what our season of consecration is like. He wants to get our attention. Just as he was drawing the Israelites closer to him, he wants us to draw and pursue him. He's drawing us closer to him. But just for the Israelites, it's the same for us. There are requirements that we have to fulfill. And I think what it gets down to is a heart issue. And that's what consecration, I believe, is all about, examining our hearts. Just how much do we really want more of God working and operating in and through us? You know, the Bible talks a lot about stewardship, but it also talks a lot about the potter and the clay. We are just the clay in the potter's hand. He is the master designer. And so the question for stewardship this week is going to be, will we surrender ourselves? Will we trust him more? Will we acknowledge his lordship over everything in our lives? That's a question that I want to leave you with this week. Be blessed as you study his word.